Live from Brooklyn, New York. We're here. We're hosted by Salon Leahing, 732 Washington Avenue between Prospect Place and Park Place, home of the professionals, barbers, beauticians, and we're live with our next Brooklyn Borough President, Khari Edwards. How are you?
I'm well, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. I've been hearing a lot of stuff about you in this district in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is very vast, and I hear good things about you.
That means my team's doing a good job.
Well, that means that you have done a good job.
Thank you, thank you.
So, I like to now let me ask you a question. The State of the Union, I gather you listened to it.
Yes,
Okay.
we were going to boycott it, but most people say you got to know what the enemy is saying. So I tuned in to see what the enemy is saying.
Okay. So, give me your analysis of State of the Union. What you thought?
My first opinion was I was a little horrified about just the energy, the decorum, the lack of decorum, the way that one side, the Republican side, was just cheering on their leader, and then I sat still and I realized, what, they're in support of who they elected, and the things that Trump said was what his base wanted to hear, what he promised. And just having a little good fun before we got on air, the reality of it is that we have to change our narrative. We have to change our narrative as Democrats. We have to change our narrative, I think, as an impoverished people, to start to see that our power is really in our numbers and our unity, and that's something that the State of the Union showed me that we don't, and that's why we're in the position that we're in. And if you listen to this thing over and over again and you watch it, you know, whether it's lies, whether it's truth, it's coming out of a place where these folks believe that this is what country should be. And that doesn't include us, even though there are a bunch of us in the audience who stood up and cheered, not the Democratic side, but just individuals of color. That they feel that they're separated from the masses. And I basically saw that. I wouldn't get too deep in it, but I basically saw separation of communities, a lack of respect for everyone.
Right, 'cause some people online is talking about the Democrats didn't get up when they were talking about specific things, and they just sat on their hands and, they just wouldn't, cheer him on.
Yeah, there was one, and I don't know if she was a Democrat, but she was sitting on that side, and she stood up a few times.
Mhm.
There are things that I do think that the Republicans talk about that we are afraid to say, because it's not the right thing to say. But she stood up, and I respected her for holding her ground. But we have to look at the entire human population as one body, and I think we've lost that. That was a specific reality that when they talk about DEI, when they talk about cutting Medicaid, when they were just going on and on about things that are important to us, but we are, I feel, an impacted community. I feel that there's systemic issues that have made us the way we have to be to survive. And they're just like, you know what, I'm gonna roll that back. It really was more disappointing is when you just looked at it, you saw what America was in 1776. Not even white women. They were all white men, all standing there making laws for us, making their rules. I'm not gonna be too controversial, but as slaves, we have to like stand in line and do what we got to do, and that's how I felt watching that thing.
Well, the paradigm for me is it has shifted. So, it's no more. We're not standing in line anymore. We're going matter of fact, we're going online and do what we gotta do. But let me just ask you, because you're a candidate for Brooklyn Borough President, give me some of your initiatives that you wanna bring to Brooklyn.
Well, I want to first unify people. I think that folks think unification is picking one community over another. A borough president represents the entire borough, and we have issues that have been around since you and I were children. A lack of educational resources, lack of healthcare. Those things too are my most prominent things. So as borough president, I want to visit every school my first year. because I believe that there is ceiling is built over kids before they come into the building. You know, no disrespect to our folks in the north, but they get to understand, you know, how to build a rocket ship, and how to be, you know, lawyers and doctors. And some of our kids in South Brooklyn, they're learning how to cut hair. Or they're learning to say, you know what, I'm going to run a store and not look at the possibility. From a healthcare standpoint, I spent 2 years at the hospital as well as a
Right.
hospital.
I heard about that.
And, you know, there are 10 safety net hospitals in Brooklyn that are $150 million in deficit every year. And what does that mean? You know, I was telling the gentleman that there was a story of a woman who had an MRI, and the MRI showed she had a growth on her kidney. And, you know, this woman's now preparing to go to chemo and got cancer. Now, 5 years old. So that spot wasn't a spot on her kidney, that was a spot on the MRI. And so when you look at, you know, things like MRIs and X-ray machines, you swap out to make sure that they're doing that. And so, you know, our policy for healthcare institutions is to give them $500,000 a year before the budget season starts. That will allow them to build, you know, MRI machines. You know, I made a joke to put wheels on wheelchairs, you know, patients' life, because for us, it's the community, it's our kids, it's our seniors, you know, I'm a type 1 diabetic, type 1 diabetic for 47 years. Insulin, you know, and those are the things that we ignore. And the biggest thing for me recently is we have 250,000 people in Brooklyn who go to bed hungry at night. There are people who have great jobs, who stand online for food because they can't afford the food. This was before eggs were $18 a carton. And so as a borough president, you know, you have 152 food pantries. My expectation is after this, we need a triple. What does that mean? Is that we can feed our hungry. And that's what I feel like blanket is. You have hungry people in Park Slope. You have hungry people in East New York. And those are the things that don't matter your color, your race, your religion. These are things that are human, you know, human processes. So when the president talks about cutting Medicare, you know, we're all going to get Medicare one day. Maybe they're $1 million, but you know, my dad is 90 years old.
Wow.
And he has Medicaid, Medicare. And so you cut that, what does that mean for him? So, you know, that's the way I want to look at being the next borough president. I want to be obsessed with constituent services. I want to come to my office, I want to come to them in the community and say, what do you need? How we I got all this money. The city of New York gave us all this money. How do we change our lives? And so those are my 3 main points. And then we need to tackle housing. We need to tackle safety. Those are the things that I think me as a borough president can do immediately. That's the $45 million in money that they get every year. $1 million in 4 years.
So I know you're big on mental health.
I have a therapist I see every Monday at 3:00. My own mental health.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Mental health is it's really an undiagnosed health issue because you really don't know what triggers your mental. You may not know, but you knew my mom. So my mom was murdered in her home 3 years ago, and I still go through that. Right? I'm type 1 diabetic. I got 3 children. Like there's so many little things that can trigger, and it's just really even being disappointed, you know. And I as a Black, you know, tell folks there's nothing embarrassing about going to a therapist. Like I text my therapist and I'm like, I ain't speak to you in 2 weeks. She's like, well, I thought you were campaigning. I like, girl, I need you. Like, I need you. I need to talk to you. I need to get this off of my chest. And I think the biggest thing is that we don't get a chance to speak. You know, even sitting here is therapy for me. I get in a very safe, comfortable environment. I think that's what people don't understand about anxiety, about just going through disappointment. Mental health is a huge thing. And so being able to talk about mobile crisis units, but even really being able to take medical residents, and this is something I did at Brookdale. We took medical psychology residents and put them into the school because kids didn't want their parents to know they were going through stuff. They, you know, so we put them in the schools as part of their I guess their CEC training or whatever it is. And kids lined up to have conversations just to talk about what's going on. So those are the things that I think I see every day. I've been in government 27 years. I started with Nick Perry in 1998.
I
Yeah,
know Nick.
yeah. He was my first job, and the first day in the job changed my life. This lady named Miss Graham, I'll never forget the first. It was on Clarendon Road, trying to cut the lights off. And it's my first day on the job. She called, she was screaming, yelling. I was like, I'll call you right back. I'll call you right back. And I hung up the phone. I called Khari Edwards and was like, the assemblyman doesn't want this lady's lights off. Y'all gotta do something about it. Said it just like that because I had no formal training. And they came back and told the assemblyman we appreciate his advocacy. But that's when I found the joy of service in politics. And I've been doing it ever since. Worked for two governors, worked for Major Owens. Like I said, well, we've been around.
Yeah.
Worked for Roger Green.
Yeah.
So I've been around the block, and so this is my first, with my second attempt, but the first time me wanting to be an elected official. Because when the phone calls come, you call me, and I got to call someone else, then it gets lost in translation. Call me, answer the call, the line solving problems. I'm excited about this. I'm excited about it.
So what would you do different now when you become president of Brooklyn?
I mean, the greatest thing in any relationship is communication. And so when I say I want to be obsessed with constituent services, I want to be obsessed with that. I want to make sure that my team understands that they are a representation of the person that they're working for. Borough Hall sits on Geralman Street, but we have 18 community boards throughout, right? And so if a senior, someone has an issue, they shouldn't have to come all the way to Borough Hall. So I intend on having constituent hours in each one of those community board offices every month. So that means when you have an issue, come see me and my team. Because again, answering the call is what we really should do for folks. And everybody's problem is going to be different. I had an event in Williamsburg yesterday. They were just talking about, wow, they need garbage cans. But you go to East New York and Brownsville, it's food. You go to Bay Ridge, it's something else, right? And so I don't believe that one size fits all when you're serving people, especially 2.7 million people. I believe that constituent service is the opening door to solve problems. So we got a cool hashtag called Brooklyn Invested. And it's just taking Brooklyn and being invested, and we call it Brooklyn Invested, and we want everyone to be invested into their community again and be neighbors. So the joke, we do something on Instagram. Can you name 10 people on your block or 10 people in your building? You'd be amazed how many people look back on right now. I know 3, I know 2. Like, who would you go borrow sugar from? I don't know. And I want to bring that back. I want to bring back neighborhoods. So I live in Crown Heights, predominantly Jewish from when I grew up. I'm the Scottish Gentile. So when the sun goes down, I'm turning off ACs. I'm getting the filter fish. Like I'm living the life. I know my neighbors. I think that's really important, especially for a lot of folks coming into Brooklyn, especially don't realize that we're built neighbors. Remember back in the day when you had this big, a tree grows in Brooklyn. That was the thing that we've kind of lost that. So I'm looking to bring that back. I'm looking to bring back the concerts at Wingate.
Oh yeah,
East Side. Because everything doesn't have to be downtown. You have to bring joy back to our community. And that's it. After my 8 years, I'm retiring.
Okay.
I actually have a question in regards to, as you know, everybody's aware that New York City has been have skyrocketed to the point where it's been here for many years. Recently, I had a conversation with a young man who owns a moving company. He literally said to me that Black people are moving to the coast.
Yeah.
What is your plan to assist people with housing or to keep people, melanated people here in New York City?
Yeah, there is a plan, and it's almost a 5-pronged plan. And the first part is, New York City is not built on the average median income truly is. We built on the average median income set by the Department of Housing, I guess HUD, includes Westchester and Long Island. So when you take the multi-million home in Westchester and Long Island, and then you throw it in with a little mix of the Upper East and the West Side, you bring the average, which truly is when we talk about union, black and brown, city workers, $50,000. Like that's our average median income in New York City. You raise that to almost 80,000. So now when you see you doing an affordable housing application, the minimum is 75,000.
Yeah.
Like, who's making that? You know, they're union folks that are working, that sleep in their car because they can't afford that. So the first thing is to, hopefully we get back to Congress and is to really make sure that the Congress switch that average median income is. But also New York City, also the governor, the legislators have to look at. If we can move that average median income to that Fair Housing Act will take care of it. But until we do that, you have to build a way that folks can afford. So there's something called city FEPS that the city council has instituted for years, and that basically is a Section 8 voucher that they give folks in the homeless shelters to get them into permanent housing.
Mm-hmm.
That actually excludes folks who are within the range of 30 to 50,000. So when you talk about DC 37, 9, 22, out of membership, you look at the lowest paid individuals there, they're the ones who are actually taking up beds in shelters because they can't afford an apartment. So one thing I want to do is to move those metrics, to move city FEPS to a place where workers.
Okay.
So now what you do is talking about moving 30 to 40,000 city workers almost within a year into the apartment. City FEPS, they pay that for 6. And it's something that I found out studying the last time I wrote, something called economically targeted. So these are things that are all over the country. It is something funded by your principal. If you look in the city, fire, police, education, Board of Ed, they're taking a percentage of their pension money into this fund. So this fund was started 40 years ago, maybe more. It's an open RFP, but it's specifically for small business support, impacted communities, and housing. So I go to Alliance Tabernacle, Pastor, shout out to my pastor, and he wants to build affordable housing for his congregants. I was like, we need to apply for this. Because if houses of worship can apply for this, build, who are their constituents, right? Who are their congregations? You and I will make that kind of middle of the road money, and then you basically change the housing market. City of Yes was a great idea. Thank God the city council changed the metrics of the AMI. But that's the only way we can first look at it. And then we're also going to compete with our gentrifiers, unfortunately, right? Not this Brooklynites saying, oh, I'm only making so-and-so. I want to get those things. So we have to be a little more, I want to say we have to play slick, but we do, right? The Fair Housing Act excludes certain communities from having, it can't be workforce housing. It has to be open for everyone. By the time we go through the application process, we're last. My sister was talking about, you're 60-year-old, and you got to look at a smartphone application, you exclude folks. So technical assistance side from my office is something that we're going to do. Folks out there, housing applications, do housing, maybe housing things at Borough Hall, start to bring folks into that. And I tell folks, if my mom didn't pass, she would have lost her house to the property tax. In RC, South Bronx, and East Campus pay the highest property tax.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? Some of us, grew up in these homes and our parents are now on fixed income. The property tax is up to $10,000, $15,000, and you're only getting $600-$700 a month, even if your house is paid off. But these are things that we have to be more vocal about and not worry about, not getting reelected, because in those who you help will reelect you. So like I said, I've never had a job where I was an elected official. I have a job where I worked for elected officials. So I really know the problems that people see. Housing is an unfortunate, it doesn't make sense why we do it to folks that way.
Right.
But I told somebody, if somebody's going to build and has the right building and not make the AMIs getting city money not going to make the AMIs. I'm down to tie myself to the building and bring the whole hood with me because
Right.
what are you going to do? That's why people are losing their houses. And thank God for people being able to at least move out of here. You have folks that literally with, 1505 Parks, the local in DC. They are folks who literally I live the food pantry. These folks have union jobs. $37,000 a year, you're not making it.
No.
You're just above being too poor, but you're too poor to really have something. That's something that borough president has made of the land use, and those are the things that you call the universal land use review process. You want to fight, you want to have a relationship with whoever the mayor is. So you be sitting there, look, I need you to, not, listen to me and not rip the borough off. But cash rules everything around me, and those who put money in their coffers usually get more than other folks. So I'm happy. My campaign's average donation is $72, maybe in 30 cents. I don't know, but $72. And so we're trying to build a movement of like, I need 54% of Black folks.
Right.
Sorry, but you know what I mean. So we got to get folks to come out and understand that there's somebody who wants to represent their needs. And I use the analogy about the equity of pie. I'm diabetic. I have a little piece of pie. I'm not supposed to have pie at all, but I'm gonna take a little piece of pie.
Right.
Everybody's allowed to eat. Everybody should be allowed to eat, and some of us are not eating.
Exactly.
I have a question. Will your position impact zoning? Because we have all these buildings downtown Brooklyn, and it seems to me much of the problem that has risen in all but this corporate influence being able to change zoning. And once these big developers come in, people don't really have a choice. Is my first question. The second question I have is, I think it's important for you to be doing with your office, taking care of people. But how can people be critical so that different laws can be passed?
So the first answer is yes. The borough president through the universal land use review process has domain over rezoning. And so again, one size doesn't fit all, right? And so you have three reasons for Brooklyn. The current borough president rezone, and people are because now you rezone them, they're going to go higher, it's going to cause more traffic, more confusion in their community. Things like Narcy, when I win, I want to talk to you about rezoning because they're on the floodplain. So hopefully they build up their houses versus the garages on the bottom. We also have a proposal where the borough president wants to take out 1 lane of Atlantic Avenue and rezone. Now that means you can have more towers there, more unaffordability. When you really talk about environmental protection, you have Atlantic Avenue. It's for some of us who've lived here, it's going to be murder, right? It's going to be smog, it's going to be traffic, it's going to be and so, but again, to your point, how do we get people involved in that process? Again, it's really showing up in they elect folks, right? Yeah, granted, the governor and the mayor can't be everywhere. Like you have to have a chance where you can go to these community board meetings, go to these council meetings. Like I tell my wife, look, don't leave me in 4 years. You won't see me, right? Because you have to go there and build that set. And when folks feel comfortable that they can pick up the phone and call you have those questions, then you start to educate people. I met a young man who moved back to New York. Like, I don't know what the community. And a lady came right after and was like, I don't even know who my council person is. And so these are the things that we're not teaching civics in school anymore. We kind of want to create an ignorance about stuff, but realizing that's that a Black History Month thing. Politics is in every single thing you do. And if you think it's not, you're gonna be disappointed and you're gonna find out the hard way. So when you don't vote, when you're not included in the process, you don't even know the things that affect your daily neighborhood, to it's a problem. And so another gentleman came and he was like, look, I got a restaurant with some noise and called 311. I was like, you dear city council member, I don't know who it is. We looked it up for him. And those are the things that we're going to have to also do in the office, right? We're going to have to be able to show folks how to get through that. And if I didn't have 27 years, I wouldn't know a lot of stuff. I've seen housing, I've seen COVID, I've seen you name it, I've seen corruption, I've seen, things. But it's really bringing folks into that point that this affects their daily lives. Like you said, politics is local. It really is. It really is.
I have more to say than I realized. Someone was in, I think it was last week or a couple of weeks ago, was stressing how important the primaries are. Because it's in New York, because it's a Democratic state, people have to be encouraged to actually vote. So some kind of campaign to help people.
Yeah, so before you go, that was Alicia. Oh yeah. So it's funny because coming back to civics, right? We're in petition season, right? So that's the only way I get on the ballots, to get all to need 4,000 clean signatures. My ex, my son's mom, we were like, I was like, well, can you carry petitions for me? She's like, I got you. I'm gonna get, we need to get you to win. She's an independent. And so she can't vote for me, she can't carry a petition for me because she's an independent. And that's part of the process, that we are like a two-party state, Democrat and Republican. In order to have your voice heard outside of November, you got to be able to get that person in. So whoever you decide to vote for, whether it's Lander or Elmer or Cuomo or Eric, they can't get to the next step unless you vote in these primaries. And I think that's something that folks don't realize. Especially you have a lot of young people vote, but I'm unaffiliated. That means really not registered. Because by the time we get to the general election, I win this primary, it's a wrap. I'm gonna get elected. Not a Republican is gonna win against me. But see, in this particular last presidential election, every third vote went to a Republican. And so now the tide is shifting a little bit. And so you may not be happy with your Democratic Party, but you're still power the numbers. And then you have like the Working Families Party and certain things. But you have to be part of something to be. There's no way to just walk around independently. There's not enough independence to make a shift in New York. So at least she's right. Be but they also put these little barriers up. You didn't do it by February 14th or something, you now can't register as a Democrat. That took away about 60 votes for me, because like a lot of my crew was like, oh, I didn't know I had to put in affiliation. But that's part of the game. It's part of the game.
Yeah, we just have to educate our community.
Yeah, it's it's difficult because when I ran the first time, I was educating myself, right? Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm trying to get you to that finish line. But that finish line, I needed to get to that finish line to be able to do 4 years of good work. And so it's kind of like a horse trading thing. So we're trying to do both at the same time. We register folks. My team want to ask questions. I don't know nobody's going to do it as good as I am, but we sure enough got the answers. How do you feel about this? My school program is what we do for school. What we do for schools in schools, it's easy for the team to know. The healthcare thing about giving them $500,000 was a thing. Food insecurity, we all go through it. We all see it. So we have a very basic understanding of what we want to have changed. It gets complicated as the knowledge base comes up, and it's fun. It's fun to sit and debate with someone, and why is this not working, or why is this person signing on to this bill? Because we don't understand that if this person doesn't sign on to that bill, that person won't get money from the community. And so then how do you look at it? You want to make sure you get money for your community, or do you want to be a martyr in the great world of politics? And so these are the balances no one talks about. It's stuff that I got to see. I used to see Republicans, I used to work for Senator State, right? I would see them fighting on the floor, yelling and cursing. And then when they go into the lounge, they all have the peanut butter and jelly. Because it used to be more of a gentleman's, gentle person's world, but now it's a little different. Now you just have a lot of the anger and the angst and how I really feel about you coming out, and that's kind of just changed what the fabric is. So, but yeah, that's yeah, but you come on our website, the website. Yeah, we show folks how to do it, and I give my cell phone number all the time. I may not be able to pick up the phone, but if you text me, I'm gonna text you back.
Well, I just want to be clear. So you're a Democrat, right?
Yes.
And Democrats right now are losing voters. They're losing people. A lot of people are realizing that there's been a lot of empty promises made to Black people in particular, and nothing has been progressing for us for a number of years. So why would someone want to vote for you? What could you say that would really hone in, pull in African Americans or just Black people in general to want to vote for you?
In my particular case, I've been doing this work for a long time. And so knowing me, and there's not a lot of people I can say that don't know me, which is a good or bad thing. But I've been answering this call for 27 years. You can Google me, you can, so you get some kind of basis of who I am. Borough presidency is not a negotiating type. I don't have to sit across from you and be like, hey, do you mind signing on to my bill? And I'll sign on to your bill. It's more of a unilateral position where it's an executive, and the relationship they have is to have it to the whoever's in City Hall, so that you're able to get funding, that you're able to express the needs of your community. The expectation is to have city council members meet, quarterly, so that we can discuss what we need, so we have one unified. So it's a little easier for me to ask you, because I'm the one that you go to. Like, if I don't see you, I know you're not. City council members and senators, it's horse trade, right? So people look at it as what can they bring back to my community? And initially, you can take people at their word, because plans are clear on our website, and it's something that I know is not outside the scope of my reality. I can't promise to build affordable housing in the way I can promise to advocate for housing.
Right.
So we have folks that are promising more than the job. That comes back to the education of the roles that we're talking about. That people vote, on popularity. They vote because my mama said so. And I'm kind of hoping I get a little bit of that. But I think that's part of where we have to look at it. And it's difficult because I grew up in a time where politics was ingrained in my household. Where I got to meet Shirley Chisholm as a kid. But I was fortunate. My mom was into this politics. And then we had parents who were into the civil rights, understanding what was for them. I have a 21-year-old and a 20-year-old. My 20-year-old daughter is like, she's woke, right? I can't say woke anymore. Like, right, won't say that, but she's locked in. She challenges me on things, and my son has this real old spirit, and he reads a lot. But mostly our children now, it's like, you don't sit down with them and say, hey, look, this is what we do. I've been taking them to vote with me, because I can get them to click the little thing, and they see that. But we have to find a way to get that out to everybody, so something really affects them. So all of a sudden the school program gets cut, or a friend of theirs gets hurt. Then now you start to see something that, and I think this is, if you're religious, at the end of the days and revelation, the reality of it is waking up in the dimension of you're going to get affected by it. Right? All of a sudden they can't go to school. All of a sudden their health is cut, and that's going to kind of wake folks up. But yeah, that's why you need to vote for me.
Okay. Thank you.
Most definitely, we are going to vote for you, and that's why we have you here on Community Cuts.
This is such a dope idea.
One of the things I was with, they had a town hall meeting yesterday with Congressman and King Countries. And
Shout out to Midwood, by the way. He went to Midwood.
oh yeah, and Letitia James, and somebody brought up very stark, I wouldn't say reminder, but deed that.
Yeah, I actually am doing. I wrote an op-ed in partnership with a couple lawyers. And deed theft is something that's really should be solved.
Right.
The problem is it takes the level of ignorance of people. And so with that basic, what I'm trying to say is that, you go about your daily day, you pay your bills, you're thinking, my water bill's paid, this is paid. Oh, by the way, sign this, right? And we don't read throughout the whole document. So what folks are now doing is that they made it easy so that someone else can go in and sign something and you not have to. And there's not enough checks and balances in the way we go about it. To the point, what I was saying about my mom, as I'm doing probate, someone signed a document defining her a mortgage for her. Typically, someone owns the note on her mortgage, clearly shows the court that this wasn't her signature. Court tells us to come back. So what the system does now, it wears you out to fight for your own, and that's something you can't, but you have to, and so theft is the process of just one taking advantage of people's another taking advantage of people's aid. And a system that's really not built for people. I wrote an op-ed about the capitalist system of just trying to, everything is about capital. And how do we create is my professor called fundamental theory. So why are we going to get rid of crime? Because if we get rid of crime, police officers, lawyers, judges, there's a whole ecosystem that is destroyed if we fix the problem. So we live in this perpetual reality that we're going to keep doing the same thing because you need a job. You need to see your family. I'm going to do that on the backs of like brown people.
Sounds like a corporation to me.
Yeah. I mean, we all have our social security number, right? We all have everything is a number and it's more like jail if you really pay attention to it. 13th Amendment show on Netflix, we are numbers. It doesn't matter if you black, white, you got a number. Elon Musk is about to take your number. Take all your number, right? And like it's a number. And so how do we build that? Education, communication, and really just taking our piece of land, like our own personal 40 acres, and attaching it to yours and yours and yours so that we have a community. Because anytime we build a community of Black people, they take it, right? I'm somebody who is still against what desegregation meant for our community.
Correct.
Because what it did is it took away our, won all of our rhythm, but not our rules, right? And it's going to dilute our power, dilute our love for one another. We're going to hate each other. We got colors, we got gangs, and all of that is because we no longer have a connection. One of my this December, my wife and I went to Ghana, and it was the most emotional trip, and it reassured me why I want to run. Yeah. Because when you're in these slave castles and you see people, right, and they won the coastal castle, they still had DNA and the bones and the blood this thick of the floor. You're sitting there, you're standing on your folks, right? You're staring at people. It changes the perspective of why you do what you do. And currently I'm the head of corporate and social responsibility for a company called Air Wellness. We're making good money, and I'm about to give all that up. I want my kids, I want your kids, I want everybody to be able to go, and that's my route. But this is exciting for me. Playing with house money.
I love history because when we were chased out of this, we went into Ghana, West Africa. There's a place Ghana that have the Judah,
Yes. Hmm.
where they came and they made rest there. A lot of people, right? And so, yeah, it's history is deep, and when we start to look at who we are and start to tap into our DNA, we can't stop, and we'll not stop. So I'm happy that you been to Ghana.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time in North Africa. I'm an Egypt kid. I love Egyptian, history. It was just something so restful and peaceful, seeing your people connected. And so my grandfather is from uh, original from Gabon, got on the boat, went to Haiti, went to Ghana, right? But when you're there, you feel that energy, that camaraderie, and it's like you get to see your people, right? And so I see why people want to go to HBCUs and all those cool things, but if you see us starting to spread out, or we got beef, it's like, wow. And even just the hearing how when we had war in those countries, we never enslaved each other, right? You were indentured servant, and you paid your debt. You either were able to stay in society or move back to your thing. We didn't kill people. We didn't put chains around their necks. And for folks to treat us like animals and like systemically continue to do that, right? One time I told my mom when I die, there's two things I'm gonna ask God: what Black people do wrong, and who made you, right? I always wanted to know. Somebody had to be God's parent, but who did wrong, right? How are we still going through? Were we the ones that had to go into the desert for 400 years? Because it doesn't make sense.
I mean,
Very complicated. You trying to go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
it's real though.
Mm.
It's real when I think about history and because you get to a point where you don't want to hear the chatter. You want to get the meat of the story. And a lot of times we have been given a false narrative, right? And so when we have children and they have their children, and the narratives are it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have any kind of power within it. So we as a collective people, we have to get to understand who we are and not have any kind of trepidation, right? And I think that even getting into, you have the Bible, you have the Quran, you have the, the Torah, but spirituality, that's how I believe. That's how David fought the giant, the bear, and the lion. It wasn't about reading the word. It was about that spirituality, who you are as a person. And that's why I believe we're just talking now that Yeshua, that was his name. Jesus, people call Jesus in this time, but when he walked the earth, his name was Yeshua, and he said, "You can do the same thing I do.
Believe.
You just got to believe." And that's how you have to tap into that DNA to know that you are that one. And I think that, I think this is the time that people are starting to wake up.
Yeah, I was speaking. My son graduating this year with basketball. He was having such a rough time, and so again, therapy is for everything for me. Once we get off this, I'm gonna talk to you all the time. But my pastor, well, one of my pastors, I was like, what happens when God is next to you? Because I'm praying all the time for him. I'm like going through this. He's such a good therapist. He said to me, he's like, you taking a test? Did you talk to you? I was like, huh? He's like, he talked to me. I was like, what? He says, the child is going through a test. Sit there, you guide him, he'll get through it. And when he gets through, he has a test. And those are the things that innately your faith and your belief in your God and you get you through it. And so, the season's over. He went to his coach, leaving to go to another school. and he's at peace with it. And I'm there fretting as a parent. I'm like, God, he ain't listening to me. But to your point, we have those things. And right before I was here, I was at a synagogue, and they say Amen. They say I'm Salafim. It's weird, like how every religion is tapped into that one source of power. And so, however you're able to tap into it, it's beautiful. And you believe, and you're right.
Tap into the God that's within.
Yeah.
I used to tap into the God that's outside of me and lost power. There's the God that's within you and each and every one of us, the God that we can tap into and that tap into in us. That's where I think that at the end of the day, if we get Brooklyn back together, this can't be a lot of, out of air. We gotta be really talk spiritualism as well. And we gotta get these people to come together.
Community. I mean, that's to me the most powerful thing that we all stand together. We have, but whatever you believe, it separates you. So there's power if there's no numbers. I think that's part of the thing that's going to get us worried about the eggs while they're taking away our health care. We're worrying about this, so it's the and it's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough not to get distracted. But again, I 2 weeks ago I sat down and I sat in my shower and I was like, all right. I was like, why do this? I got a good want to be bothered. I sat with my therapist. She's like, for you.
Amen.
And
Amen.
for that moment, I was like, so I got my energy back. Playing the house, they're able to sit there. Because I said, at minimum, if I don't, then I have forced the current borough president things that he hasn't done for 3 years.
Right.
And now you've seen these outside, all the black communities. This is the work that and push. So he's not my. I just want better for my community, and so I'm gonna make a move for it and then take it from him.
Right, exactly. Why not? I just wanted to veggie back off the lead question. The New York City.gov address, you can register your property there, and if anyone tries to file a deed, you immediately get notification. So that helps to protect people who are in that situation.
So in the op-ed, interestingly enough, what we're trying to do is create an Acris app, because if they send it to my mail, I don't know. And so especially for our student folks, we try to get it in the simplest way so
Yes.
because by the time you come around, I still got bills I ain't paid for 2 weeks. I got my property tax with people. I'll get to it, but so that's one of the things that we want to talk about is how do we, if we modernize everything else, how do we create a process where we learn?
That's right.
It's different for our students. I mean, they have caretakers that it's wild. You just don't take care of the seniors.
No.
I can't.
You know what it is? Years ago, we all took care of our parents and grandparents. We all lived together.
Right.
Now in society is more or less, everyone is an individual and everyone is on their own, and we really don't follow up with you mentioned mom. You're taking care of everything. So hopefully your children do that. That's part of the community itself, the village, the whole process.
So it's interesting. So growing up in Crown Heights, both Carol White and started seeing the Jewish community come in. I'm like, oh my God, these cribs, they doing all this stuff. To find out one of my neighbors, he was just like, no, I'm selling because my son who went to school didn't want this house. And when I tell you, my dad was like, boy, me and your mom bought this house. He said I was 12, but you bought this house. You won't come to this house. So I really never left New York City because he was like, this house will be worth something. This is our hard-earned money. They only pay $25,000, but back then, And so now it's like all my neighbors, they left. And now my whole block So it wasn't someone came to gentrify, they just wanted out. So there's only like 4 black families on my block. And those are the ones who still have children, like act or whatever, know the value. My dad was like, "You ain't going nowhere. Like, we made this. We put all of our eggs in that. You gonna do right by yourself." So it's cool.
Part of educating our children about investing, because your home is an investment. So it's about financing, it's about money, it's about, your legacy also.
Right.
So I guess you'll be visiting schools and teaching too, maybe.
Oh yeah, we have that. That is number one ownership of. They can talk about the house market gonna fall apart, but any of these folks, they got it. And that land is because one, it doesn't, even if it depreciates, it'll taught you to write that joint in. It's the only place that you can rest your head when it's time. Folks don't realize that. Like that is the number one thing that I think people do so well outside of New York. Like we got land, we got homes, and things happen. We got people right here, and folks don't realize it. You want a nice car. I want a nice car. Well, I got a nice car. My wife. You know what I mean? I want a nice car. I want jewelry. I want all that stuff. But I know when it's raining, I'm in my house. We don't really teach that.
That's right.
And it's interesting talking about financial education because my wife, when she was 25, she read a book by Susie Orman, and it changed her life. So like what's your greatest story? I'm like, I'm okay. I got you. Like, you're okay. But these are the things that we hide on this stuff from Black people in books that we don't get a chance to learn those things. Write it down, and we're the best. I think we're the best economists ever because we work well with nothing, so we can really stretch dollars. And we have the ability to do something different. But yeah, looking at schools and schools, that's our thing.
Okay.
You see a lot of those, and I'll take all of the information. So if you got ideas, bring them on because I think they ultimately help folks.
Right.
I'm not an expert. Like I said, I have my little areas, but I sat with a couple principals and we talked about SLA money, how you teach them to draw the money. If you give them money as a borough president and they can't use it this year, how you teach them to lose it. And the same thing with healthcare. Healthcare and machines and what they cost. So you get business owners, what is she going through? How many chairs does she, so you get to learn a lot. You get to reapply that into community. I'm gonna look stressed out. I'm looking.
Tell us how can people join your team?
Oh, thank you. So www. I always forget the third. It's www. Khari, Khari Edwards.com. Khari Edwards NYC is our social media. So these are the easiest ways to get me. Hello at Khari Edwards5.com. Once you get to the website, it's kind of simple. Our volunteer base has been really picking up. The kids say I'm outside all the time. And so it's been exciting. And I really appreciate you because, again, this American, I got a debate with at the Brown Memorial. So so I get to talk and at a time. Again, it's for me is building community folks, and then we bring no person's an island. My wife and I watch Bible shows and like by myself. I miss my parents. So having people around is a big thing.
Suggestion. But we should be doing this some podcasting, teaching online.
I would love to. You gotta give me the vehicle for it. So I'll make you laugh though. So I started a podcast last year. This is before I even really running call, lend me some sugar. Because again, that community, who the person that you go knocking for sugar. It was I had a bunch of officials, pastors. We always started at, if I needed some sugar, because it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, though. I don't know. This is a lot of work. Podcast stuff. This is a lot of work. But it's really rewarding when you get to see the finished product. Yeah, if you listen, you tell me, I'll be there. Lord knows I love to talk. I do love to talk. But yeah, I would love something like that.
Well, we're supporting you. We're supporting you. Whatever we can do to get you where you need to go. At the end of the day, is helping the communities out in Brooklyn. It's pretty vast.
Pretty vast. And it's really just community harm.
Mhm.
You know, we had fundraisers, so we had a fundraiser at the for weeks ago, and Sunday we had faith church.
Nice.
But I tell folks, when we first started, I said, we know 10 people, how many people, because the win number for 100,000 people, which is not, it seems like it's like 1% of Brooklyn. We're looking at, so share this, share with me. We're going to share it out. People get to hear what I'm doing.
And the primary is in June, correct?
June 24th, primary, June 15th, early. And we'll be door knocking in community soon. Just petitioning. So you'll see a lot of folks running around on green sheets asking for Prospect Park for the market some other places. That's really been fun too. The most difficult day, I think, I don't know if the lady was like, you support her? And I was like, look, that's not the answer I wanted to hear. I'm not signing a petition. Look, I know if I was a few years in jail too, I might know that I gotta do too. So I was like, we get into that, but that was still a funny. He must have been in the 70s, and she was like, you don't tell me you in jail. I was like,
she doesn't know about grace. Right.
Not only that, it's a process. You have to go through the legal procedures and the courts and the evidence. Most important, the evidence.
That's correct.
Before we start, judging someone.
I mean, look, he has done a lot of stuff, and what he is accused of doing, elected officials been doing that for centuries. And somebody buy you a steak dinner.
We can't get away with.
But part of it is the reason you get 2 million people to vote for you. You're a pedestal. Yeah, I've been in rooms where folks are giving steak dinners, and I'm like, so it's just a weird dynamic. I think the important part for Eric is that he's very bravado about himself, and them folks don't like. So sometimes you got
that's I want you to be authentic. I want you to have to believe that you're someone else.
Yeah. I mean, look, and in the end, that's what you got.
That's it.
When they take everything from you, your name, who you are, and so I'm not going to see anybody down the river because they feel that they got to take care of themselves. That would be. So yeah, I lost the signature.
But you gained more.
Yeah. We filled up the sheet later, but you get to learn. Everybody's not going to be everybody.
That's right.
But
can't satisfy everyone.
It's fun trying. Yes, I'm really excited. It feels a lot different. I'm a lot older than the wants of people. So I really appreciate you.
Well, Ms. Edwards, here at Community Cuts, we are supporting you, and we're asking our viewership to come out as well and check them out and check out the website as well. But here in Brooklyn, because I'm very, you know, deep in Brooklyn, and I know a lot of people. And matter of fact, Anton said, "Tell you hello."
My God.
And he told me to tell you hello. And he's in Cleveland now. And so your name is going to be, to be honest with you. And what I'm hearing back is that I'm supporting you, and I'm asking the audience of community to support my brother. He's good people, and that's all I can say to you. Support him.
Your info again. So people would like-
www.khari, Edwards.com or Khari Edwards NYC on the social media handles. Or yeah.
And we put the link in the video for your Khari Edwards 2025.com.
Yes.
Any words that you want to tell the community?
I just want to build that community. I want to build back neighborhoods. You have my word that I will make sure that I'm in the inside of town. Once I win, it's not that you have to worry about why you haven't. Once I'm on vacation, other than that, I'll be everywhere I'm supposed to be.
Mr. Evans, I want to say congratulations. I know that, at least I believe that you're one.
Thank you.
Good one. So I thank you so much for coming out coming out to Community Cuts to talk about this stuff,
I appreciate it.
and tell us, you tell us what about the community, what you would do, and thank you.
So you got a record of what I'm going to say. I was telling somebody the other day, I'm like, okay, I'm not changing. This is who I am. This is what I do. And anything above that is so. My baseline, my foundational. I'm excited.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
What y'all getting into? You about to leave? Oh, you know you gotta get it back to mic now.
We're still on the air.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're still on the air.
I'm sorry.
Well, Community Cuts, as a reminder, I want to say to you, this June, is it June 14th, you said?
14 starts early voting. June 24th is election day.
Okay. Come on out. Come on out. Come on out and support. And, do your civics. Come out and vote. God bless you, family. And we want to say cheers tonight. Thank you. And thank you Bliss as well. And our producer, Catherine Davis.